Light one candle for the Maccabee children, with thanks their light didn't die. Light one candle for the pain they endured when their right to exist was denied. Light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom demand. But light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Light one candle for the strength that we need to never become our own foe. Light one candle for those who are suffering, pain we learned so long ago. Light one candle for all we believe in, let anger not tear us apart.
Good evening. My name is Elise Herzig, and I have the honor and privilege of being the Executive Director of JIAS Toronto. I also am the MC for tonight's first time ever JIAS Cross Canada Refugee Shabbat Havdalah program. We are so delighted to have each and every one of you on this call. Before we officially start the program, I want to go over some technical housekeeping issues. One, we made a conscientious decision to host tonight's program as a Zoom call instead of a webinar. We would love for each of you to have your video on so everyone feels connected and is a valued member of our community. If you are uncomfortable having your video on, that's okay. Please do what's right for you. If you have a Havdalah candle, please light it when the rabbis conduct the Havdalah service. If you do not have a candle, not to worry, share the light in the light of others. 3, you will note that you have been muted on this call. We have done this to ensure that you can hear the speakers and do not get unintentional background noise. We welcome your thoughts and your comments. Please use the chat box on the bottom of the screen to share your personal insights and reactions. We want to hear from you. To test this out, if everybody could please put in their chat box right now the city that you're calling in from, that would be wonderful. So I'm going to take a quick peek to see Toronto, Winnipeg, Toronto, Ottawa, Vancouver, Toronto, Vancouver, Toronto. And it's so nice seeing some friendly names that I know: Oakville, Saskatoon, Montreal. So please keep on putting them in. It's wonderful to see the people that are joining us for tonight. Also, you have the option in your name to put down what city you live in. And if you're part of an organization that does work with refugees, you can also put that in so we can get an idea of the communities that are represented tonight. We had over 230 people last I saw register for tonight's event. So we're just so happy and just really honored to be spending Saturday night with each of you in your homes. And now for the program. Tonight we come together from cities from across Canada to connect as Jews who are committed to tikkun olam and supporting refugees. Tonight we acknowledge and celebrate the inspirational work being done in Jewish communities across Canada. Tonight we join together in prayer for the over 26 million refugees worldwide and for the Jews and people of Ukraine who have been fighting for their lives and face a difficult and uncertain future. While the number 26 million is impossible to comprehend, it is possible to imagine one refugee and another and another. And when you meet them, see them, welcome them, and hear their stories, you understand what we're all trying to do here tonight. We're going to start our program with a land acknowledgement, and it is truly my delight to welcome a special friend of JIAS, Eva Karpati. Eva and her fellow volunteers from the Welcome Quilt Project of the National Council of Jewish Women, based in Toronto, welcome JIAS refugees with the warmth of a beautiful handmade quilt. It is my pleasure now to introduce Eva. Thank you.
Thank you, Elise. Yes, my name is Eva Karpati, and my family and I were Hungarian refugees who came to settle on this land. And therefore, I acknowledge that I've benefited from colonialism and from living on traditional Indigenous land. I acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the dish with one spoon territory. The dish with one spoon is a treaty of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, and the Haudenosaunee. This land has also been home to the Wendat peoples and the Seneca peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. I also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Williams Territories signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. I want to express thanks and appreciation to those whose territory we reside on, a territory that has provided safe haven for so many immigrants and refugees. This acknowledgement aims to recognize and honor the Indigenous people who are the original occupants of this land and who have suffered and continue to suffer as a result of settlement practices and development of the land, which did not acknowledge, nor honor, nor respect Indigenous values, knowledge, and ways of living. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. We've all faced personal challenges the past 2 years because of COVID. Refugees displaced from their homes and countries have been even more vulnerable throughout the pandemic, as they often live in crowded conditions without access to vaccines, masks, and medical treatment. Their dreams of departures for safe haven were delayed by closed borders and immigration backlogs. In recent months, however, our spirits were lifted as we welcomed some long-awaited refugees to Canada. And many of you on this call are still waiting for refugees that you sponsored to arrive. We hope and pray that this happens soon. We planned this Havdalah service before Russia invaded Ukraine. These past 10 days, we have watched Ukrainians fighting for their rights and freedoms. And during this time, we have learned that this invasion has forced more than 1 million refugees to flee the country. The most recent estimate that I read predicted the number to rise to 10 million refugees. This is at a time when there are over 26 million refugees around the world. When we woke up 10 days ago, the world we knew had changed. The crisis taking place in Ukraine feels so close to all of us. It ties our past and our personal narratives. For some of us, it is happening on the very soil that our families came from and may have fled from. For some of us, our colleagues and friends, and I see some of your names on this call tonight, live in fear and hope as they have loved ones still in Ukraine. For all of us, our previous thoughts about refugees and who has become most vulnerable to become refugees changed overnight. And our own sense of vulnerability and helplessness has been heightened. This past week, the Canadian government put in new measures to help Ukrainian refugees. With many members of our community still very much connected to Ukraine, we have no doubt that our community will see an influx of refugees coming to Canada, and JIAS will be there. We cannot stop the war, but we will do what we have done before. We will show up, and we will help those in need. and together with you and our many partners, volunteers, and community organizations, we will help these refugees rebuild their lives. We will support their healing, and we will help position them towards a path of self-reliance. And now we're going to start our Havdalah service so that we can come together in prayer, physically experience light, and start a new week with a sense of community and hope. It is my pleasure to introduce Rabbi Don Moskovich from Temple Shalom in Vancouver, who will introduce his colleagues as we commence the service. The rabbis you are about to meet represent just a few of the many congregations that help us do this holy work.
Thank you, Elise. It's so wonderful to be with you and to be with my colleagues, those that are going to help in a moment to lead Havdalah with me, Rabbi Friar Bodson from Beth Tzedek in Toronto and Rabbi Yael Spolansky from Holy Blossom in Toronto. I'm from Temple Shalom in Vancouver. And to just permit me to reinterpret our Havdalah symbols for just a moment. We're familiar, of course, with the wine, the symbol of joy, as we normally refer to it for Havdalah, and thinking about it in terms of refugees and resettlement. We think both of the wine of the joy of when they settle into our communities and into the safety of Canada. We think also of the wine that we pour out at Pesach, of the tears that are shed as they leave their homes and their fragile countries. The bisamim, the sweet spices, remind us of the smells of the land that we come from and the foreign smells of the land that refugees arrive to in their new country, in their new home, and how smells evoke things within us that are both joyful and at times painful and longing. And the Havdalah candle, with its many braids and its winding path, reminding us of the circuitous route that it takes sometimes often for refugees to arrive at the safety of our Canadian shores, but also the many hands and hearts that must join together to form that shalshelet, that chain of love and compassion and care to help them to arrive to safety. And so we'll begin with Havdalah, and if you have your candles, your Kiddush cup, and your bisamim, we invite you to light your candles in just a moment. I'll turn it over to Rabbi Friar Bodson.
Hine el Yeshuati eftach velo echad ki ozi v'zibrat yad Adonai vayehi Yeshua u'shoftem mayim v'sason Mimane ha-Yeshua, Ladonai ha-Yeshua, Alamcha birchatecha sela, Adonai tzvaot imanu, Mizgav lanu, Elohei Yaakov sela, Adonai tzevaot, Ashrei Adam Poteach Bach, Adonai Hoshia, Hamelech Yanenu V'Yom Kor'enu, Layudim Haita Ora, V'Simcha V'Sason Vikar, Kenti elanu, kos Yeshua tesa, uveshem Adonai ekra, uveshem Adonai ekra.
La 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Bore peri hagafen, bore peri hagafen, la la la. Lie, lie, la 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 lie, 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 la 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 lie, lie, la 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 lie, 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 la la lie, lie, la la lie, 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 la 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 lie, 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 la 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 lie, lie, la 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 lie, 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 ya la lie, lie, la la lie. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Bore mine besamim, bore mine besamim, la la la. Lie, lie, la 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 lie, 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 la 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 lie, lie, la 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 lie, 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 la la lie, lie, la la lie. Lie, lie, la 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 lie, 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 la 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 lie, lie, la 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 lie, 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 la la lie, lie, la la lie. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Bore more haesh, bore more haesh, la la la.
Dai lai la da 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 dai dai da dai da 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 dai dai da 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 dai 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 da dai dai da da dai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh lechol ben or lechoshech. Ben Yisrael Amim Ben Yom Hashvi'i L'Sheshet Yemei HaMaseh Baruch Atah Adonai Hamavdil Ben Kodesh Lechol Lai Lai Da 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 La da 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 da. Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol chatotenu hu yimchol zarenu v'chaspenu yabech hachol v'kochavim balayla. Shavua tov, 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 Shavua tov. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimhera v'yamenu, Yahavo Eleinu, Imashiach ben David, Imashiach ben David. Shavua Tov, everyone. I wish we could hear all of our voices intertwined and strengthening one another, but I know that more than 200 people now are gathered to dedicate ourselves to this shared sacred work. Havdalah is about making distinctions between Shabbat and the ordinary days of the week, between light and darkness. On Shabbat, we have enjoyed an extra measure of light, an extra measure of sweetness, an extra measure of peace. And with this simple ritual, we pray that we can take all that we have enjoyed in the Shabbat and bring it with us into the days ahead so that we can dedicate ourselves fortified and ready to make the world more whole, a little more just, a little more compassionate through the sacred task of refugee relief. And we beckoned Eliyahu Hanavi to come and join us to see our efforts, to witness how we bring the promise of the Messianic age closer and closer to fulfillment, when no one will be afraid and everyone will have a home. It is my pleasure now to introduce my friend and colleague, Rabbi Tina Grimberg, who serves and leads the congregation Darchei Noam here in Toronto, the Reconstructionist congregation of Toronto. Rabbi Grimberg and I first met in Yerushalayim, but she is originally from Ukraine. And so we are eager to hear your insights, Rabbi Grimberg, your reflections at this trying time. Shavua Tov.
Thank you. Greetings, Shavua Tov, to my dear colleagues and to all of you who are committed to this extraordinary work and necessary work. In the last 10 days, it's been more and more difficult to be able to place a membrane that separates one from the images that flood your television screen or your information over your phone or computer. Seeing people homeless, panicked, saddened, pale, hurried, lining up totally in place of unknown and sorrow brought back many memories. In May of 1979, my family tried to board the train in Western Ukraine that headed for Vienna, Austria. We were stateless, we were frightened. Vulnerable Soviet Jews, along with thousands of others, tried to leave Soviet oppressive regime in search of a new home. We wanted to be free Jews, proud, unashamed, secure. The Iron Curtain prevented us from knowing what lied ahead. But there is something we knew, one thing for certain, the Jews on another side were helping Jews. That made all the difference. People, Jews and non-Jews who are fleeing Ukraine now, know that the global community is behind them. Jews know that their people is behind them as well. I will never forget the first cup of tea in Vienna that was given to me by a person representing Jewish resettlement efforts, JIAS and JIAS. Looking back, I think my deep Jewish attachment, my traditional Jewish life, my passion for Jewish history, its present and its future, and later on, a role of a rabbi, deeply embedded in these first experiences. That cup of tea warmed me then, and it still warms me today. An inspiring Jew whose name I will never remember, whose face I will never be able to see again, made all the difference. I am honored to serve Darchei Noam Reconstructionist community of Toronto, who along with other Canadian Jewish communities and other global communities are committed to the plight, resettlement, and welcoming of these homeless, traumatized, heartbroken people who seek safety and warmth of a home. Sovereign of the universe, Ribbon Shalom, who hears your prayers, we stand before you in solidarity with all who are enduring the darkness of human conflict in Ukraine. May you protect all the innocent men, women, and children at this moment of great peril for them, their country, for Europe, and the world. Bring fortitude to the vulnerable, resilience to the insecure, and strength to those who live in fear. Incline the hearts of national leaders towards peace and reconciliation, and please bless them with wisdom, vision, perseverance needed to end this senseless war. Restore peace in the region. Almighty One, strengthen the hands of those who pursue peace, not war. Bring harmony where there is hostility, relief where there is pain, hope where there is despair. May the one who makes peace in high places make peace for us here on earth. May it be your will, Adonai, for good. Strengthen us, hear us, and fill the world with compassion. May we say,
Amen. Rabbi, thank you. All the rabbis, thank you so very much. We're now going to have a song for peace, Shalom Rav, and it's going to be sung by Rabbi Anibal Mas of Shaarei Tzedek. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to share some music so we can all sing together for peace. I'm not sure if you will be familiar with the tune. It was written by Cantor Meir Finkelstein. I choose it purposely because he served in Toronto, but he also had visited us in Winnipeg, so he has some Canadian connection, and it's a beautiful tune, so we can all sing it together. Let's sing Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Try to sing it with me. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim טסים לעולם, טסים לעולם. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Rabbi Anibal Bas. In Shavua Tov, everyone. My name is Leah Kiesel, and some of you know that I lead JIAS Toronto's Refugee program. I am honored to be here today. It is great to see so many people, partners we have worked with, and so many people we don't know, but who are deeply committed to tikkun olam and refugee support across Canada. It has been a privilege working with you and with the refugees that we have helped bring to Canada. We could not do this work without the overwhelming commitment that each of you bring, whether as sponsors, donors, volunteers, or advocates. It is because of you that we have been able to grow our refugee program so much in recent years, and that we're able to work with people in our local community, as well as with partners in Hong Kong, Australia, Israel, the US, and others around the world, so that together we can save lives. In August, we watched as the Taliban seized Afghanistan. We watched as the country lost its freedom. We watched as human rights activists, journalists, women in leadership positions, and others had their rights stripped away. Then we watched as the Jewish community responded with rescue efforts, sponsorships, financial support, and volunteerism. JIAS was overflowed with messages, with heroic accounts of rescue efforts and offers of help from individuals, community groups, synagogues, and others. It is your commitment, your kindness, your actions that inspire our ongoing work and enable us to continue saving lives. This past year, despite the pandemic, JIAS was busier than ever, working not only with individual sponsors and volunteers, but with foundations and NGOs on the ground that have been working to make miracles happen, one refugee at a time. In today's circumstances, we cannot help but feel overwhelmed by world events and the enormity of the work that lies ahead of us. There is no question that we will be welcoming family and many new community members from Ukraine in the months to come, and we will be here for them. JIAS will be here as we have been for the last 100 years, and this community will be here as it has been here for all of us in our time of need. Thank you all for being here tonight. And now I'd like to introduce you to some of the people who have chosen to be part of this holy journey in recent years. We are privileged to have committed partners, and we are looking ahead knowing that this community will step up to the challenges ahead.
I'm committed to support refugees because of our history, and I really believe the refugees that we work with around the world in many different countries could be an incredible asset to the community, the country, and the global community.
We're committed to helping refugees because we see this as tikkun olam in action.
Because I believe that newcomer children deserve every opportunity to fulfill their potential.
My mother was a refugee who managed to escape Warsaw in 1939, and she survived through the kindness of strangers.
Our people were once refugees too. In fact, so were my parents, and we know what the refugee experience is like.
The Torah teaches us, "Ve'ahavtem es hager ki gerim hayisem be'eretz Mitzrayim." You must love the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. There's no better way to fulfill this mitzvah than by advocating for refugees.
We're committed to supporting refugees because we believe we must use our freedom to help others secure theirs.
Many of us have families who came to Canada as refugees, and we believe that the current generation of displaced peoples deserve the same opportunities to escape persecution and chaos in their homelands and come to a place that is safe, where they can raise their children in peace and stability.
I feel very strongly that now that we are so comfortable here in Canada, it is up to us as Jews to act.
It is by luck of my birth that I live in the country we do of Canada. The need is great all over the world. And I really believe the quote from Pirkei Avot, it is not incumbent upon you to complete the work, but nor are you free to abstain from it completely.
Because we're Jewish, because we believe in tikkun olam, because of the dire need for so many refugees seeking relocation.
I'm committed to supporting JIAS because they are the organization that supported my family when they arrived here as refugees.
Our agency and staff are committed to tikkun olam. We are also guided by the Jewish value of achnasat orchim.
Many people in our community come from family backgrounds of being refugees, and we understand the plight and challenges facing refugees today.
As Jews, we know what it's like to be in peril and have nobody welcome us. That should never happen again.
I support refugees because my father and members of my family came to Canada as refugees, and I know how refugees can contribute to this country.
Our people, including members of our congregation, have been refugees, and we understand the plight of today's refugees.
We are indeed committed to supporting refugees because we are committed to tikkun olam. And as lawyers, it is in our pursuit of justice to address these issues meaningfully.
We are committed to tikkun olam, as our scripture says, whoever saved one life saved the entire world.
The refugees I have helped made a decision to immigrate in a difficult moment in time. They come with hopes for a brighter future and are able to not just survive, but flourish with a minimal amount of help.
We ourselves have been refugees, myself included, so it touches our hearts.
It's a way for us to really speak our principles of tikkun olam, of welcoming in the stranger, of demonstrating compassion and generosity.
We are committed to supporting refugees because we practice tikkun olam.
In 2017, we sponsored a refugee from Syria.
And in 2020, we sponsored a refugee family of 11.
Because everyone deserves a safe place to live.
We know that a little help to someone navigating the trauma and challenges of relocating and settling in Canada truly goes a long way.
As a Jew, I believe that to save a life is to save the world.
Because there's a global refugee crisis.
Because it's important to tikkun olam.
Because people deserve basic human rights.
Why? Because we could and because we wanted to offer them the opportunity for a new life in one of the best countries in the world.
I believe as a Jewish person and a Canadian citizen that I have the privilege to be able to help others leave difficult circumstances and come to a place of safety and security.
The past 6 years, we have partnered with JIAS to support Syrian, Rwandan, Yazidi, Nicaraguan, and Iranian newcomers to Canada. We are deeply committed to fulfilling the mitzvah of welcoming the stranger.
There is a role for everyone who wants to participate in this critically important mitzvah.
Because there is a worldwide refugee crisis and with it an egregious disregard for human rights.
I've believed that it's our turn to pay it forward and be righteous for somebody else.
What is more real and joyful and fabulous than making people feel welcome?
So thank you so much, and Shavua Tov. The people in the video you've just seen are a sample of the many people across our community and across our country who are working to change and save lives. And behind every clip is a story of the drive to help others, of patience, of commitment, of acts of kindness, of humanity. This week has been so difficult when we are literally witnessing war and refugees fleeing for safety in real time, day in and day out. It is disheartening. The number of refugees worldwide keeps growing, and the numbers are so huge, they are almost impossible to comprehend. But when the work feels too great, we need to remember the individual. We need to remember families. We need to remember that each of these people seeking refuge is a human being, not only with rights, but with interests and talents, likes and dislikes, hopes and aspirations. That is what keeps me going when the work feels too great. And I know it is what also motivates all of you. So let's meet a few of the people whose lives have been changed by this work to remind us that our efforts really do make a difference.
Hi everyone, my name is Hassan.
Hi everyone, my name is Maha and we have 3 kids.
We have been here in Canada for 5 years, since March 2017, after we were refugee in Iraq, Kurdistan region, in the camp, after Temple Shalom sponsored us to come here in Canada.
We want to say thank you to all members of Temple Shalom for helping our family and giving us the opportunity to live in peace and give us, our kids, good future.
Hi, I'm Babar.
Hi, I'm Shinhat.
Hi, I'm Omid.
We are Kurdish Syrian family. We are from Syria. We've been here almost 5 years. We came through private sponsorship program with the help of Temple Shalom. They brought us here to Canada and we have a better life here. We have in peace, in safe. They supported us in different ways, in like socially, financially.
They also support us to find a job for me and Bauer.
Fast forward to 2015, when my family weren't even thinking about leaving or anything. And we had 7 members of my own family, my brother-in-law's family, being beheaded and slaughtered in their own home. And I've said this a million times, and a million times will make me very emotional. So that's really when my family had to escape. So when I say someone saved my family's life, when I say JIAS saved my family's life, this is really not a cliche. This is real thing.
Hi, my name is Titi. I and my family were Eritrean refugees in Israel, but now we are a very proud permanent resident in Canada. We arrived to Canada on 24th of November 2021. Our best friends, John, Alan, Clara, with his wife, and Will with his wife, Linda, were the one that they sponsor us through JIAS. We are very proud of them. We are very proud of their help and their friends that they help us to settle here in Canada. Also, I really want to appreciate that the Canadian government gave us this opportunity to change our life and the life of our children.
My name is Eden. I am an asylum seeker from Eritrea. Right now I am speaking to you from Tel Aviv, where I have lived for the past 12 years. Very soon I will be living in Toronto, thanks to the hard work of Leah and Ala at JIAS and my generous sponsor from Darkei Noam and Chai. I and my husband Danny and my 4 children are so excited that we can start a new life in Canada. Thanks to you, thanks to all.
really hard to follow those videos, and they only capture a very condensed messages of the many people that have been impacted by the work of all of you. We try to capture the essence of what motivates us to help and support this work, but I really think it's the people on this call that should be getting a lot of applause, because I know how much work each of you do. So this is why we do the work, because behind the overwhelming and distressing numbers, there are people like all of you that can help change and save lives. You are here tonight because you care. Some of you have been sponsoring or supporting refugees for the last 40 years. Some of you have been moved by media reports and images online. Others by the refugees that you have had the chance to meet in person. And some of you are here just now seeking a way to make a difference. You care deeply, and you may feel powerless, but we are not powerless. There is a beautiful tale of the Baal Shem Tov that my grandfather told me when I was a child. The Baal Shem Tov was the founder of the Hasidic movement and was born in 1698, over 324 years ago, in a small village called Okapoy in western Ukraine. And the story goes as follows. When the great rabbi, the Israel Baal Shem Tov, saw misfortune threatening the Jews in his community, it was his custom to go into a certain part of the forest to meditate. There he would light a fire and say a prayer, and the miracle would be accomplished and the misfortune averted. Later, when his disciple, the celebrated Maggid of Mezrich, had occasion for the same reason to intercede with heaven, he too would go to the same place in the forest and say, Master of the universe, listen, I do not know how to light the fire, but I am still able to say the prayer, and again, the miracle would be accomplished. Still later, Rabbi Moshe Leib of Sasov, in order to save his people once more, would go into the forest and say, I do not know how to light the fire, and I do not know the prayer, but I know the place, and this must be sufficient. And it was sufficient, and the miracle was accomplished. And then it fell to Rabbi Israel of Rishon to overcome misfortune. Sitting in his armchair with his hand in his head, he spoke to God and said, I am unable to light the fire, and I do not know the prayer, and I do not know the place in the forest. All I can do is tell the story, and this must be sufficient. And it was sufficient. Tonight we tell this story. We come together in prayer. We light candles for the people in darkness. We light candles for each other as a sign of community and hope. Right now, we are all searching how to help. Let us rally together to support the people in our own community who are in anguish, worrying about their family overseas. Let's raise emergency funds for humanitarian relief. Stay informed. Check out the JIAS website and be here to come and welcome those that need resettlement. And as Rabbi Grimberg said, and maybe serve them a cup of tea and hear their story. For the last 100 years, the Jewish community in Canada and JIAS has mobilized to support those in need. Now is no different. JIAS will be here. JIAS is ready. Our community will be ready to step up and do what is needed. We are now going to have a song, a very powerful song, sung by Cantor Kim Doron of Congregation Beit Habanim, Congregation Habanim in Toronto. Thank you.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh. live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. And we shall all be free. We shall all be free. We shall all be free someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday.
Thank you. And thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. And please stay connected. Join us. Sign up for our updates. Receive our upcoming Passover Haggadah supplement. You can sign up to volunteer or start organizing in your own congregation to help bring the next wave of refugees, whether they are Afghans, Eritreans, or Ukrainian. Let's work together to bring more light into the world. Shavua Tov, and we're just going to close with one more video. And if people want to put in the chat line any comments, please feel free to do so.
Shavua Tov from Toronto.
Shavua Tov from Toronto, by way of the beach in Antigua.
Shavua Tov from Edmonton.
Shavua Tov from Toronto.
Shavua Tov from Tel Aviv.
Shavua Tov from Albania.
Shavua Tov from Toronto.
Shavua Tov from Vancouver.
Shavua Tov from Toronto.
Shavua Tov from Montreal.
Shavua Tov from Oakville, Ontario.
Shavua Tov from Honolulu, Hawaii.
Shavua Tov from Saskatoon.
Shavua Tov from Toronto.
Shavua Tov in Gutavach from Ottawa.
Shavua Tov from Toronto.
Shavua Tov from Winnipeg.
Shavua Tov from Toronto, Canada.
A Gutavach from Toronto.